If you are suddenly more exhausted than you used to be, you might be wondering, am I getting a burnout? Or is it perimenopause? And which of the two it is matters because they require different responses. So I will explain the most important differences between burnout and perimenopause, so that by the end you have a clearer sense of what you're dealing with. And also we will see some steps to take. Burnout and perimenopause overlap almost perfectly. At first glance, it's very difficult to tell them apart. Both can give fatigue, mood swings, disrupted sleep, reduced resilience. And generally, many people in their 30s and 40s begin to feel the difference in their capacity. That does not necessarily mean that their resources are depleted, but it means an adaptation is necessary. We will get to that. Perimenopause is often under-recognized, and some of the symptoms are really quite surprising. So we might not think of perimenopause when we get elevated heart rate, for example, or tinnitus, or muscle pain. If you experience that, then the first thought will probably not be, oh, that must be perimenopause. That is because it is a systemic shift, that it's not clear at first what is causing it. Where burnout and perimenopause differ is on the structural level. Burnout tends to be caused by a situation, and it improves with sustained rest. That means after leaving that situation. Also psychologically leaving the situation, not just physically. If you know you will need to return to an environment that caused your burnout in the first place, then no amount of rest will be enough. And perimenopause does not seem to follow a pattern at all. It is independently of an environment and of a situation. It has a range of unexpected and also unrelated, seemingly unrelated shifts. And the symptoms do also not resolve fully through rest, even sustained rest. So if rest does not restore you the way it used to, then it's likely that your baseline has changed, and that would point to perimenopause. And that deserves a different kind of attention. If you would like to know, do I have burnout or perimenopause, you can also make a thought experiment. If your current biggest problem would magically disappear overnight, would you be able to recover within a few weeks? For example, you won the lottery and you would not need to return to that workplace. Or a difficult relationship would suddenly be fully loving and supportive. If that would greatly relieve you and your overall health situation, then that hints to some burnout being present or starting. And if that would not change anything, the situation is good, but your feeling is still one of, I have no idea what just hit me, then that can point to perimenopause. That said, if the symptoms are persistent, evaluate them, because not everything in midlife is perimenopause or burnout. Here are some ways in which perimenopause and burnout need to be addressed differently. In dealing with burnout, we need to remove the stressor and then heal the nervous system. In perimenopause, we also should remove as many stressors as we possibly can, but on top of this, it is also necessary to transition to a different protocol for health and for the nervous system in the long term. And also we should consider medical assistance, and we need to develop a strategy to assist you through that phase of life, because it is a long game over multiple years. But that entire discernment between is it burnout or is it perimenopause actually matters less than knowing Is your current mode of functioning allowing you to be well? Is it sustainable? In burnout and perimenopause, and also when the two happen together, which they sometimes do. It may not surprise you that how you interpret this phase, how you take it on, influences your recovery and your well-being. And by that, I do not mean being delusionally positive, like, oh, everything is fine. That I do not mean by that, but that you can help yourself tremendously when you do the following. Do not minimize what you are experiencing. Stay active in addressing it. Do not hope it will solve itself. And prioritize your well-being, because that is now no longer a question of feeling nice or something. It is now a question of your health and your sustainability. And I'm not speaking about this from mere abstract theory. I have had to examine all of these issues in my life and work. That change of energy that many experience in midlife does not mean that this is now the end of the capacities. But it means that now comes a phase that requires a different approach than before. And that may be not easy because it's new. But if you engage in that deliberately, then you get fewer surprises and you keep more agency.